That's so funny. Can you see it here? Okay. I gotta turn around and get comfortable. This week we're gonna do a what I read in a week because I'm a working woman, so I can't read during the week. I have to read between the hours of 5 and 9, both before AM and PM. So today we came to the park. Cameraman, please display park. And we have our hammocks. I have my book. I'm starting Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is the second book. I don't know what this series is called, but the first book is Dance of Thieves. I read it not too long ago, and I think I gave it like a 3 or 4 stars. Nothing too great, but I wanted to finish it because I'm hoping it's good. The end of the last book was like a really cheesy cliffhanger, so I'm hoping that this one is better. But if not, at least I can say I finished this series. So we're gonna buckle down and read. My personal accomplishment, my boyfriend who's with me, is reading his first book in years. He's reading Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I recommended this to him because he's seen the movie. Anyway, so I thought he would like it, so we'll see if he does. He's exactly 1 page in, so I guess we'll both update a little bit later and see how it goes. This is nuts. I'm 40 pages in, and there's already a freaking, I guess it's not a plot twist because they allude to it, and then it's kind of like, what is it called? They're like explaining, they're giving, it's like, oh my gosh, my words are escaping me because I'm literally baffled. You know, in a movie where they're like, I bet you're wondering how I got into this situation. That's essentially what's happening. But it's nuts. I forgot to say before, and it says on the back, Dance of Thieves duology. But this book, oh my gosh, picks up where the last one left off. So it's Jason and Kazi, which are the main characters, and they go through their whole arc and are in like a foreign land, but now they're returning back to like his homeland, which is nice. But at the end of Dance of Thieves, it like alludes to the fact that there's like a conflict that they're coming home to, and they're not even home yet, and there's already a conflict. So I have no idea. Honestly, the last book, it took, I would say, probably like 100 or 200 pages before it actually started picking up. And this one, it's getting right into it, 40 pages in, so I'm hopeful. One thing that I didn't notice in the last book, which I'm sure once I get home I'll have to check, but in the front it shows obviously the map of the, do it this way, it shows a map of the fantasy world, kingdom that they live in, and a majority of the book takes place here, and I was like, oh, that's not helpful because it literally doesn't show what's there. And I was like, oh, what if it's in the back? Girl, it's in the back. And the whole last book I was confused because I couldn't imagine anything, but it was in the back the whole time. So I'll have to look for that when I get home. How's your book going? Nod, you can speak. How many pages are you? 26. Anything crazy happened yet? No? But do you like it? Okay, good. That's all we can hope for. Okay. We'll check in later. We've been here for what? Almost an hour, I'd say. And it's starting to, I don't know if it's overcast or it's just the sun setting, so we'll have to leave soon, but it's been good. First time I've been able to read in 2 weeks because I've been in a slump, so hopefully I'll get to continue to read more this week, but we'll see. It is currently 10:38. 40. I'm on page 49 of Vow of Thieves, and I'm essentially just gonna read until I fall asleep. So, my goodness. Hello, it is Tuesday. Just got home from work and I sat down for dinner. I read a little bit last night before bed, as you guys saw. I got about 40 more pages in, so I'm on 89, page 89. We're now starting to finally get into, I guess, the conflict, because the book starts essentially saying like there has been a conflict, but we don't know what. So now we're kind of getting more detail on what it was and why it's happening. Usually I'm really busy on Tuesday nights, so I don't get a chance to read, but I'm not feeling 100%, so I'm gonna stay home tonight and hopefully get a good way through this. Like I said, I just sat down for dinner. I'll show you guys. Salmon, zucchini, Caesar salad, and my book. So yeah, I'm just gonna read and eat, and I'll check back in with you guys if anything interesting happens. I just helped my friend Lamar take my old bookcase, which reminded me that I haven't showed you guys my new bookcase. My friend Lamar, who just picked up my old bookcase, actually moved into a new apartment, so she was trying to get rid of the bookcase that she gave me. And so essentially we just did like a bookshelf swap, which is great. But I wanted to show you guys because I haven't showed you yet. I set it up all last night. If you follow me on Instagram, I made like a little reel about it. I'm Books with Bloom, Books W Bloom on Instagram, so follow me over there because I post a lot more. But let's do a little bookshelf tour. Only the first two shelves have books, but the bottom shelf on the left-hand side are all my cookbooks, and then some random titles, and then just some things that I'm working on. So I have like my little how to crochet book over here. And then there's also, they're kind of double stacked, so I have a few titles up here on the top as well. And then this one is 2 layers deep. So I have all the books from my TBR cart on this shelf. And then this section right here is actually all of my 5-star reads. So we have The Martian by Andy Weir, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides, Verity by Colleen Hoover, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, Still Alice by Lisa Genova, and People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. And then here on the top, we have some decorations and my record player. My record player also does CDs, so I have some CDs here as well. Editing and uploading my video took longer than I thought. In fact, it's still uploading, so I have it going here. But other than that, I am in the ideal conditions for reading right now. Number 1, I'm in my comfy clothes. 2, I have my book. I have my beverage. I have my sweet treat. And I have a bunch of very comfortable pillows to lay here on, in addition to the fact that I have soft, non-direct lighting. So these are honestly the ideal situations. I also have music playing in the background. Obviously it's not playing right now, but I have like soft coffee shop music playing. So this is kind of as good as it gets. It's 9 o'clock right now, so I'll probably read for like an hour and then go to bed as per usual. Any updates, I'll let you guys know. I realized I never really talked through the plot of this book. Like I said before, this is the second book in a duology. Dance of Thieves basically goes through Kazi and Jace's relationship. Kazi is essentially Secret Service for this queen of a kingdom. Jace lives in this other portion of the kingdom and is the ruler over there. And Kazi sent to his area to see if anything suspicious is going on. She has her own little mission. And basically what happens is that the two of them get tossed into the situation where they have to work together. We love a slow burn, enemies to lovers. But it's really great because it's dual POV, so you get to see kind of each person developing
feelings for each other as their relationship develops, but also how they come from two very separate worlds and points of view. And it's really interesting to see how like each one of their points of view is so justified, so it's really difficult to see how they'll kind of connect in this relationship because they're so different. But basically at the end of the first book, they go to, you know, another part of this vast kingdom, vast lands or whatever, and so they're on their way back, and the end of the book kind of alludes to the fact that there's a conflict, and like I said, conflict starting at the very beginning. So I am about, just my bookmark, I am about 97 pages in, so we're just kind of getting the background on like what happened, why they're in this situation, and now it's finally starting to move forward into like what's gonna happen next. Because like I said, the book kind of opens and she's like, I'm in this terrible situation, what the heck happened? And we're like, yeah girl, what the heck happened? Like, how did you get here? So we're kind of caught up to the present time and going through that. One of the things that I really like about Mary E. Pearson is the way she describes people. I'm trying to find the specific the specific description, because she was describing this man who has her kind of in his grasp, like in his power. She has the upper hand. He has the upper hand. Where is it? Oh, okay. He stepped into the role of a powerful monarch in a ravenous way. That's so, the way she portrays that is so interesting, because you really get like the entirety of this man's character and where his draw for power comes, and the fact that like clearly he's somebody with an insatiable need for power. And mind you, this is just a side character, not even the main characters. So her descriptions are really great. I don't know if I said this earlier, but in the first book, it takes about like 100 pages to build all the context. So it's a little slow, but thankfully this one kind of goes from the outset. And because this is the second and last book in this duology, I'm really excited to see where it goes, because I think it's going to be really, really great. Like, it's been fast paced so far. The plot twist I didn't expect. So I'm kind of just expecting it to go uphill from here. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm going to read for a bit. 10:30, probably hour and a half. And that's kind of it from me. So we'll chat in a little bit. It's been several days. I think the last time I read was Tuesday, and now it's Friday. I just have been like in a reading slump and doing literally anything other than reading. I was like watching TV and YouTube, painting my nails, listening to podcasts, like, I don't know, I just wasn't in the mood. So we are on page, let's see, I think I'm on chapter like 22 or something. Here we go. We're on page 157 out of 480. I felt bad because I was like, oh, I'm filming a realistic what I read, and I was like brainstorming ways to get more pages in, like whether I should download an audiobook or just start a new book while also reading this book and whatever, but then like it's not realistic like that. So this is reality. I am in a reading slump. There's nothing wrong with this book. I like it. I just have not been in the mood to read. So I have a pretty chill weekend planned. I'll probably like do a couple things on Saturday and Sunday, but I don't have any plans for tonight, so I'm hoping to just get a few hundred pages in and like, I don't know, let's do it. Ideally, I finish this by like tonight or tomorrow morning, and then I can start another book tomorrow, because I have a ton on Kindle Unlimited that I want to start reading. So we'll see what ends up happening. I also have considered listening to Daisy Jones and the Six audiobook because I had never read it because I didn't like Taylor Jenkins Reid, and because I read Seven Husbands and I didn't really like it. So I hadn't read Daisy Jones and the Six, and then everyone said it was so good, and then the show came out, whatever, and I was all up in the hype, but I never just got around to getting it, and every time I was gonna buy it, the covers had those stickers on them that were like, now an HBO Max series, and I don't know, I didn't like it. But I heard that the audiobook is voiced by different narrators for every character, and that it's really engaging, so maybe I'll do that, because I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm at the gym and just like walking around and doing work and whatever. So I figured if I had an audiobook, then I'd be getting some pages in and get some reading in and also get whatever I'm doing done. So food for that. But I'm gonna dive into this and we're just gonna read for a few hours.
I forgot to tell you guys, the part I'm at in the book is where Kazi, who's our FMC, starts to understand the background of why, like I was saying, why she was in the situation she was in, and kind of like the betrayal or like the steps leading up to the situation. And it turns out one of the characters from the first book, who was literally like, you didn't bat two eyelashes at them, you like totally underestimated them, you thought they were a buffoon, a fool. The Mastermind. Play Mastermind by Taylor Swift, because what the heck? Literally, what a plot twist. And it wasn't like the character didn't come up enough in the first book that it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But it was enough that it was like, wow, you really are Two-Faced, and it's insane. So we'll see what else they have planned, because crazy. From the beginning of the book, the FMC and the MMC get separated, and so they each think that the other is dead. But you know, as obviously the reader, that neither of them is dead. And I just found out who saved the MMC. Literally, what? Like, there is no motive to be helping the MMC. Like, this person has no motive to help them. This book is just getting turning. Hey. It is about 11 o'clock. I want to say I've been reading since 7, on and off. Going on my phone. I'm 250 pages in, so about halfway. And now our main characters are going from being the attacked to formulating a comeback plan, so hopefully I think it's gonna pick up, because this is kind of the second half and we'll have some sort of third act craziness, but we're gonna pick it up in the morning because I'm tired. This book just had the perfect depiction of enemies to lovers. It says, I had shouted them to an enemy because my survival had been completely entwined with hers by a chain. Now I couldn't survive without her for a different reason. Screaming, giggling, kicking my feet. Mary E. Pearson. I was a little skeptical with the first book. You have redeemed yourself here. Guess who's back? Back again. Anyway, hey, howdy y'all. Anyway, I think we spoke briefly this morning, and I was reading Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I ended up going to my boyfriend's family's house and reading and finishing this up. I didn't film, obviously, because I wanted to
respect their privacy. Y'all, it was so good. The final third was action-packed, back-to-back action. And there was like a lot of action, but it wasn't to the point where it was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It was more just like things were happening back to back to back. It wasn't like emotional whiplash. Very good. I think I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I liked it better than the first book, probably just because it jumped right into the action, and obviously that's only able to happen because all of the context was set in the first book. So I don't blame Mary E. Pearson, but she definitely redeemed herself in my eyes with this book. There is enemies to lovers, and they're like enemies to lovers in the first book, so now you get to see like the depth of their romance and their love. There's found family. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so good. It's fantasy. There's like she's a member of like the Queen's Royal Guard, so there's like a lot of action and fight scenes. So if you like that, it's really nice. The key side characters are really well fleshed out and just a really good addition to the book. And because of the flopping POVs in this book, it definitely does a really great job of like leading you down one path. Like something will happen with the FMC, and then you'll see the MMC's point of view, and you think, oh, this is where it intertwines, but then you realize, oh, that's actually not at all what happened, and it just builds and builds and builds the story really well. So props to Mary E. Pearson. Vow of Thieves, 4 out of 5 stars. Hi friends, remember when I said I'd see you tomorrow on Sunday? Yeah, it's Monday. I was just bopping around yesterday and doing lots of activities, so I didn't get around to filming. But yeah, today it's Monday. Our week of reading has officially ended. And so here's where we're at. I finished Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, and I started Crave by Tracy Wolff. I have gotten 66 pages into Crave, and Vow of Thieves was 480 pages, so that puts me at, I think, 546 pages for the week, which is pretty good. But yeah, like I said earlier, I gave Vow of Thieves a 4 out of 5. It's fantasy, it's romance, it's found family. It's just a really great time. Like I said, I really think that this book is able to just give you all the action that I felt like I was missing in the first book. I know that she had to put a lot of context in Dance of Thieves in order to have a book like this, because when she kind of gets into the action of the book, there's not really any context for who any of the people are. There's enough context that you understand who they are and like in relation to the last book, but not really like character descriptions. There's no new characters. But yeah, really good. Overall, super great. Like I showed you guys in the last, I think when we spoke on Saturday, I read you guys the perfect description for enemies to lovers. And there were just lots of good quotes in this book. I really liked it a lot, so I would highly recommend. Especially if you read Dance of Thieves and you were a little on the fence, I really recommend reading Vow of Thieves. Then, yesterday afternoon, I started Crave by Tracy Wolff. I had showed my boyfriend my Kindle Unlimited library, and I was like, it was between Divine Rivals and Crave, and I was like, okay, which do you think I should read? I gave him no context, I just showed him the covers. And he picked Crave, so that's what I started reading. I definitely am going to go back and read Divine Rivals next. I read the synopsis for this. It's this girl who's immortal in the fantasy world. There's some vampire, I don't know. 60 pages in, here's what I know. Kind of the general, oh my god. And kind of the general lay of the land. I never remember the main character's name. Grace is our FMC. It's told from her point of view only. The writing is very casual. You really get to see every single thought she has in her brain, and she's a teenager, so some of them are ridiculous. But Grace's parents have died in an accident, so she's an orphan now. Her only other family is her uncle and her cousin Macy, who live in Alaska. So she is going to a boarding school in Alaska where her uncle is in charge over there. So the first, I think I'm on chapter like
I'm gonna say like 7 or 8, and it starts with her kind of like on this journey to Alaska and getting to Alaska, and then her first night at the boarding school. Everybody's so weird and like rude. It's not weird as in like, oh, you're the new girl, everyone's staring at you. It's weird as in like everybody's looking at you like, number one, you shouldn't be there, talking to you like something terrible is gonna happen to you. And then she meets who I assume is gonna be our male main character, Jackson, something like that, but it's spelled with an X. And he's all like angsty and pretentious, and like, I assume he's the vampire because the cover literally says take a bite at the top. So I assume he's a vampire, but he's just very like, I don't know, it's so cringy, you guys. Like, let me see, I highlighted one of the quotes and I literally marked it and I was like, this is cringe. Let me see if I can pull it up really quickly. Let's just add to me not knowing how to use my Kindle. He says, oh no, where is it? Oh, okay. It says, one glance and I know that this dark boy with the closed off eyes and the F you attitude isn't the hero of anyone's story, least of all mine. Okay. Go off, Tracy Wolf. Like, what the heck? It's giving Twilight vibes. I don't know where it's gonna go. I really was just looking for like a really relaxed, no-brainer read. This is very easy to get through. And a little cringy, but with Twilight, I pretty much cringed the entire time I read it, and I love Twilight. So I'm hoping it picks up from there, but this is really great. I think that this is really a true representation of what I'm capable of reading in a week as somebody with a 9-to-5 who also likes to do activities and see her friends and things on the weekdays. So I think I read probably for like maybe an hour a day on a good day. Tuesdays, I always go to church at night, so that only leaves the 4 other weekdays, so I'd probably 4 hours throughout the week. And then Saturday and Sunday is where I can really get into like hours and hours of reading. So yeah, it's easy to get discouraged for me because I want to read so much more and there are so many books that I want to read. And like I told you guys before, I'm thinking about starting audiobooks and Audible and things like that just to get some more content in, just because I like it so much and there's so many that I want to read. But this is really realistic, 1 book a week. And so I end up getting through, I would say probably like 4 books a month. Ideally, especially like if I'm on vacation, I get through like 2 books a week, maybe 3 books a week. And that's what I'd like to do. It gets a little discouraging, like I said, because obviously I watch a lot of Bookstagrammers and they read like, I don't know, their TBRs are like 10 plus books in a month. But I have to remind myself that YouTube is literally the only job they do. And I work a 9-to-5. So that only leaves a few hours to do reading after work. But I'm really happy with how this went. I'm really glad that I ended up liking Vow of Thieves as much as I did. I look forward to seeing how I feel about Crave, and yeah, it was a good time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, all the things. Follow me on Instagram at Books with Bloom, and comment down below if you've read these books, what you've rated them, if you have any recommendations for me based on these books. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.